These Kenda Kross Supreme tires are quite possibly the best gravel tires I've ever used. Too bad you can't find them anymore. Or can you? I don't know when Kenda Kross Supreme tires were on the market. I found reviews as early as 2003 and as late as 2020. They are no longer on Kenda's website, not even on the Legacy Gravel Tires page. I think that page is for tires that are still in stock, but no longer in production. In hopes of getting more information, I filled out the online form on the Kenda website asking that a media contact get in touch with me, but I never got a response. I'm sure they get tons of similar requests, and I bet most are more worthy of their attention than mine. I also don't know how long I had these tires hanging in the garage. I sold the bike on which I had intended to mount them in 2018. Why did they not go on that bike? As noted in other reviews, Kenda Kross Supreme tires can be supremely difficult to mount. As I was attempting to wrestle the first one onto a rim with my shop tire tools, it occurred to me I'd never get the thing off the rim or back on with the tire tools in my seat bag if I needed to do so on a ride. So I muscled them onto a couple of spare rims and hung them up for later use on different rims. A note about storing tires. Their worst enemy is ozone, which causes cracking and general deterioration of the rubber. There are lots of household sources of ozone. Those often found in garages include refrigerators and freezers, air compressors, and electric welders of any type. Assess the environment before choosing where to store your tires. I was past the return period, and besides, I like Kenda tires, and I like the concept of these, and figured I'd eventually have a bike on which they would easily mount. That bike turned out to be my Fuji Jari. The Kross Supremes slipped right on. Now that I have some miles on them, I find they perform even better than I expected. Good as they are, I wouldn't review them if they were no longer available, but oddly, they still are, although availability varies. They are positively not in the Kenda catalog anymore. Many of the usual online vendors, such as Bike Tires Direct and Jensen USA, do not have them. Others do. These include Modern Bike, Performance Bicycle, REI, and Treefort bikes. Keep in mind this was true as I was working on this video. Availability will certainly decrease over time. I'm not sure why these vendors still have these tires. Possible explanations include NOS or New Old Stock. This may be gray market, that is, buying and selling of goods through non-authorized channels. It's conceivable they're knockoffs. I don't know how common that is in the tire market. I think they're all 700 by 35, which is the size I have. Note that there are foldable and wire bead models. The wire bead are, as expected, significantly heavier. Claimed mass is all over the place on the vendor sites, from 320 to 592 grams. Mine are foldable, and their mass is 523 grams, which is 200 grams more than the lowest mass on the vendor sites and about what wire bead models are listed at. Tire, tube, and liner come in at 724 grams. Why tubes? I'll get to that in a minute. With all that out of the way, why are these tires worth the search? I had a Schwalbe X1 on the front and a Continental Terra Speed on the rear. They were exceptional tires for paved use, but I wanted to get back to riding more gravel. The more aggressive tread pattern of the Kross Supremes was a better match for that application. The combined mass of the Schwalbe and Conti was 650 grams, so I paid a 396 gram weight penalty. Maybe I bought the Kross Supremes from one of those optimistic websites showing a meager mass for them. Yes, I feel the added mass, but I gained performance in other areas, so this is a good place for my favorite Thomas Sowell quote: "There are no solutions, only trade-offs." I think they're not tubeless compatible. Because they're my winter tires, I wouldn't run them tubeless anyways. Our area uses cinders, a waste product from coal-fired power plants, to improve traction in snow and ice. Cinders are shaped like tiny shark's teeth and readily pierce tires. I tried tubeless one winter. The first ride after the county spread cinders lasted 12 miles before I called my wife to come and fetch me and the bike. I had over 30 punctures between the two tires. My sealant was no longer in the tires, but all over my frame and my face. Tubeless zealots believe it is the best thing since electricity. Those of us who ride in areas with cinders, or goat head thorns, or cholla cactus understand the limitations of tubeless. Sidewall inflation numbers are 50 to 85 psi. I run them at 60 psi. I like the ride quality at 60 psi and have had no issues with pinch flats. I was concerned about the square shoulders of the Kross Supremes, especially on the front. The X1 had a more rounded profile. The square shoulders would be great for traction, but tires with that square profile can have very abrupt tip-in on cornering. It's more than unpleasant, it can be unsafe. I tried the X1 and the Kross in the driveway, and the difference didn't seem as pronounced as I thought it might. On the road, the difference is apparent, but not concerning. I adapted in the first 100 meters of riding. My test rides included pavement, gravel, dirt, and mud. We don't get much snow, and I didn't have a chance to try them in the snow. If I do get the chance, I'll post something on my Instagram and Facebook pages. The tires handle pavement well. Traction is good in a straight line and heeled over in a turn. I haven't pushed them hard in paved turns. I don't think they're designed for that. The knobs are quite small and well supported, and I don't feel much knob squirm, but they're not road bike tires and can't be expected to corner as road bike tires do. Kenda Kross Supreme tires are also competent on dirt and gravel, but here again they have limits. Smooth, compacted dirt is almost like pavement, but deep, loose dirt puts these tires into plow mode. Same for non-compacted fine gravel, such as that found on much of the Whitewater Canal Trail in Metamora, Indiana. When I ride that, I use my mountain bike. Small gravel is good, big chunky gravel, not so good. Just as the Kross Supremes are not road bike tires, neither are they mountain bike tires. They'll handle rocks and roots and other gnar, but as you're riding that stuff, you know without a doubt that this is not what they were designed for. They also have varying performance in mud. Loamy mud is fine. They shed it without packing up at all. Gumbo mud is a different story. They'll gather it until the rear tire won't fit between the chainstays anymore and you're stopped dead. So are Kenda Kross Supremes the right tire for you? If your riding is mostly paved or an even split of paved and unpaved, you could do better. But if you actually use your gravel bike extensively on gravel, they're tough to beat. As long as you note the storage precautions I mentioned earlier, you may want to buy a few sets of Kenda Kross Supremes to hoard while they're still available. I'm Rich Reese, and I'll see you out there. My thanks to those supporting my efforts. You can do so on a monthly basis through Patreon or with a one-time contribution through PayPal. Links are in the description.